So there's one thing that is I know to be true of all the world, and this one I know absolutely 100% beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Really? Do tell.
And that is no two people are alike.
That's true. I've heard that about snowflakes.
That's true. And I don't want to be a snowflake. No. But I do want to be human. And we're all different. And, you know, in this video, what we're going to talk about is some of the things that make us different. In fact, we would say that there are 3 parts that make up a person. That we're going to break down each one. But the first is your personality. The second, your family of origin. And the third is your life experience. So personality, family of origin, and life experience. And that is what makes each person unique, because nobody could possibly, even twins, identical twins, could not have all 3 of those things the same.
For sure. So let's break it down a little bit. The first one being personality. This is your God wiring. There have been all kinds of attempts to break down personality into different kinds of boxes, or clarifying you're more of this and less of this. But even in the personality, you can uncover so much. Maybe you are more active. Maybe you are more reserved. Maybe you're a little bit more task oriented or more relational. Maybe you're more emotionally steady, or let your temper flare quickly. These types of things, even your proclivity to change, how much you look toward change and how much you don't. These types of things are so important to unpacking who you are. And it seems like it would be easier if people were like you, because then they would understand and do, think like you think. But that would actually get us to a whole nother problem.
Well, in fact, I've had people say to me in the past, I just wish everybody was like me. They thought like me and acted like me. And we really don't, because there are different parts of the personalities that are what we call dominant, that help people move things forward. There are some people that are kind of like your drivers that really just want to push things, and yes, we can do this, or your cheerleaders, or the people that are really this stable worker bees, the people that get the stuff done behind the scenes, or there's really conscientious people that are looking at the details. If everybody was just looking at the details, no one will be pushing things forward. If everybody's pushing things forward, I would not want to cross a bridge, right? Because if they're not looking at the details, we need those folks.
That's a really good point.
So we would not have bridges. I don't know. And so that's one of the cool things, though, about personality, is that there's no good or bad. They all have their goods and bads on how you handle them.
Sure.
And that's one of the things I know we've worked with, lots of people on just how they interact, because there's that expectation that people are going to see success or engagement in the world the same way they do. This is not going to work that way.
Yeah, so as we're unpacking this the first time around, really think about it for yourself, and then we'll look at others soon. But what is your personality type? What do you know about yourself, good and bad? And then looking ahead at family of origin. Now, what we mean by family of origin is your upbringing. What was life like for you? Socioeconomic status, whether you were in the farm or in the city, on the farm or in the city. If you were the firstborn or a younger child, and what life was like in your home. I mean, just what did you learn, hard knocks from being a kiddo? What kind of values were instilled in your family? We recycled. I'm really good at recycling.
You are really good at recycling. And I am much better at recycling now because of you.
Yes, you're welcome.
That's one thing.
And we have all kinds of traditions that come out of our family of origin too. Sweet memories for me of my dad making pancakes in the first letter of our names on Saturday mornings. And so we have holidays that have specific traditions, and even just everyday life. This is what we do. We get up early, or we sleep in until we've hit snooze 5 times. These types of family of origin issues become ingrained in us. They are a huge part of how we see the world.
Well, and then along with the family of origin, the way we see the world is the caretakers in our lives are our models.
Yeah, for good or for bad.
Exactly right. And so if there's a father figure and a boy is growing up, he's looking at the father, maybe not thinking this, most likely not thinking this consciously, but he's the view of what a boy is supposed to be as an adult. The mother is then what the wife is supposed to be, and vice versa, right? So the little girl look at the mom. If they don't have both, then part of that does get a little bit more difficult. We've found in working with people that they may not have that model growing up. And in addition, what's fascinating to me is that you then expect that the person you marry is going to act the exact same way.
Well, duh.
Or hopefully they don't act at all that way, even though you may have chosen them not thinking about the fact they probably will act that way.
That is so true. Yeah, it is complicated, and we don't even know. I think the tricky thing is we don't know what we don't know.
That's right.
So I didn't know that you didn't do Easter baskets the way I did Easter baskets, or that you like to stop for gas station drinks and snacks on a road trip. Like, I didn't even know to ask you about that or to talk about that. That was just, I do what I do, and my way is always right.
Well, and then for me, growing up, we had you could see the TV from the kitchen table. But there are times we would just eat in the living room and watch TV together. In fact, my sister, for the longest time, they didn't even have a kitchen table because of the way their house was. They just had tray tables. And I remember growing up with my grandmother. That was how that was too. And in your house, no, you didn't have access to TV.
We never ate in front of the TV. I mean, maybe like a candy bar or a bowl of ice cream, but we never ate a meal in front of the TV in my whole life.
And we shared this because these were some of the major fights we had when we first got married. And we then had to decide who we as a family unit were going to be. And so you've got this personality that we've talked about. You don't have any control over what your personality wiring is. Then we talk about the family of origin. Again, no control of who you're born into, as much as you might wish you could. Right? But then this third piece is life experience. And that's the one thing you actually have control over. Now, there are some things that are out. Some things are out of control, but you do long term. The longer you live, you do get to kind of chart that territory a little bit. But your family of origin and your personality are going to influence those life experiences. In fact, we see this. One of my favorite books is called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, and he talks about the power of the family of origin and generations. And it's just a fascinating read. But it really also describes how, as a family, decisions also have to be made. And that really comes really into focus when you get married. Sometimes with roommates a little bit if you're single, but once you get married, that really plays into it.
Absolutely. So as you've been thinking about this, perhaps for yourself, you're a complicated person. You're unique. No one could fully predict without knowing you super well how you might respond about something like the recycling or a road stop at a gas station. But in addition, the people that you are around, the people in your family, the people that are closest to you, they all have these same exact factors going on. They are unique as well. Your mother-in-law is unique. Your brother-in-law is unique. Your uncle is unique.
How about your aunt? Is she also?
Your aunt, your neighbor, your
sister,
your boss, your coworker, your everything, your friends. And that
again, this goes back to 100% true that everybody's unique.
That's what makes Thanksgiving so interesting and wonderful and
interesting.
horrible.
That's such a good word.
Interesting. Yes, because truly each person has all this going on. I think sometimes we try to peg someone and say, oh, my aunt, whatever, Aunt Bertha, she is this. She's just this. And we kind of give her a label of maybe a personality label or something that has to do with weird behavior she has. But she's complicated. Aunt Bertha's complicated. She has all kinds of reasons why she does things. Maybe hard stories, maybe life lessons that that came to her that she wanted or didn't want, that caused people to do the things they do.
And so one of the things that we teach a lot is, in fact, I was sharing this just today with somebody, is that we do believe there's a truth. There are facts that happen. If there's a car accident, that happened, right? There's a physical incident that happened, but what any attorney will tell you, or a judge will tell you, or an insurance company will tell you, is the perspective is individual to the eyewitnesses or the person that took that was a part of it.
That's right.
And so we see this all the time in marriage, that someone will spend so much time trying to relate why they were right and what was actually said, but you have two people saying the opposite things, both saying, but this is what would actually, And the reality is we each have a perspective. Now that perspective gives us a nuance in the relationship. But family also has perspective, right? So when we go to Thanksgiving or spring break or whatever it might be, their view of what happened is going to be different.
Oh my goodness, yes. And everything about the perspective. Take a family meal. the time that it takes to get it on the table. And someone says it's going to be ready soon, or
What is soon?
even when you say a time like it's going to be ready at 2, that is relative to that person's perception of time.
That's right.
And what are we going to make, and who's going to divide it up? And there are just 1,000 ways that we can get caught up in things. And so we just wanted to introduce healthy relationships really start from an understanding of how complicated and unique we all are, and that is actually a good thing.